If you are getting the S26 Ultra, no matter what, congratulations. But if you're not sure, this video is for you. Slightly even more down to earth today. I wasn't gonna make a video today, but my best friend came to me a couple of days ago and said, I've heard the news about the S26 Ultra, Alex. Should I upgrade it? I've got this older phone here. And when I looked at his phone, I realized, well, it depends, which is when I decided to make this video, talking to you exactly like I did when I was talking to my friend, because that's how I see you, even though I'm just looking at a bit of plastic right now, but I'm hoping that you get the connection. I'm talking to you exactly like I would if I was talking to you down the pub. We now know pretty much everything that there is to know about the S26 Ultra, and like I've done in previous years, I put together this hopefully useful buying guide for you. By the end of this video, you should know whether the Galaxy S26 Ultra is the upgrade you've been waiting for, or maybe it's best to skip it this year. Is this the super cycle upgrade that we've been waiting for, or is it gonna be a mixed bag? I'm Alex and I do down-to-earth tech videos. One of the biggest changes in the S26 Ultra is the design. We've seen many leaks online showing rounded corners, and I have to say, it looks much less abrupt. For years, the Galaxy S25 Ultra, the S24 Ultra, S23, 22 has been a sharp rectangular block that after a while kind of digs into your palm a little bit. When they went from the S21 to S22 lineup, it was a pretty bold and iconic design since then, but ergonomically, it probably wasn't the most comfortable to use. We're now getting rounded corners. It sounds like a small change, and it sounds like we're clutching at straws about, Samsung not doing anything, but there's more to come on that. But if you hold your phone all day like I do, or if you use it for long periods of time, this alone could be worth the upgrade. But I have some bad news. The official promo materials have leaked, and it turns out we might not be getting the charging speeds that we previously thought we were getting. Oh, if you haven't seen my previous videos on the S26 and the S26 Plus, we're also not getting built-in magnets. That rumor is being killed. I'm probably the minority on this one, but I do appreciate that most people will use a case anyway, so the magnets on the back of the phone is not going to be that important. And I gotta say, I do enjoy a nice case too, but I don't know, sometimes I like to rock it naked. Ultimately though, by rounding the corners, Samsung is acknowledging that phones this big need to be comfortable. Now, the final thing about the design before we move on to the cameras and other reasons why you should or shouldn't upgrade is the colors. We're basically getting a white, a black, and some sort of light blue version, and also the online exclusive. The main camera is now 200 megapixel resolution, but the aperture is f1.4. I was trying to explain this to my friend yesterday, and he's not a camera aficionado, so basically it means this lower number means it's a bigger aperture, which in turn means more light comes in. f1.4, and just in photography in general, is massive. It lets in roughly 47% more light than the f1.7 of the S25 Ultra here. Crucially, what this really means is that you're gonna get faster shutter speeds, so fewer blurry shots of your kids or pets running around, better night photos, and some of those issues have been noticeable problems in the past. I personally don't see that too much, but they have been reported and I have been able to replicate those issues. The other aspect that changes with this f1.4 is that we're gonna get a deeper, more natural background blur without using portrait mode. And it's important for me to emphasize this because this is a physics upgrade. It is huge. Very much in line with some of the great devices that we've seen coming out of China, like the Honor, Oppo, Xiaomi in the past few years. I'm so glad that Samsung has gone and done this for the main camera. Now, here's a feature on the S26 Ultra that no one saw coming. This is something crazy on the display, which was already class leading for me. It was the best smartphone display. I wouldn't say by a mile. There are amazing displays out there, but with the tech in anti-reflectiveness, for example, Samsung is at the top. And Samsung even dropped a few teasers on this one. We've all been there, right? Sitting on a bus or on a train, and you're kind of aware that someone next to you might be blatantly reading your text. Usually you're kind of forced to ignore it or buy a cheap plastic privacy screen protector or just kind of hide it. But these are not elegant solutions, and the protectors might make your screen look grainy, and you don't want to interfere too much with that screen, right? Samsung is clearly building something into the display hardware using whatever magic technology. You can toggle a mode where the screen becomes invisible from the sides. This is going to be huge for when you're using your banking apps, or you're sharing personal information online, or you just want to scroll in peace, right? We'll see what that looks like in direct sunlight, but the S25 Ultra is already awesome. And here's another point that my friend was really concerned about, which is performance. His phone, the S22 Ultra, is showing signs of slowing down now. And for the performance junkies out there, I do have some good news. Great news actually. While the S26 and S26 Plus are dealing with this split between Exynos and Snapdragon depending on the region, the Ultra is thankfully rocking the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 globally, an overclocked 4 Galaxy version like they always do, which promises to be an absolute beast. I mean, I've been testing a few smartphones this year already with that chipset, the Honor Magic 8 Pro, the Poco F8 Ultra at the end of last year, and they've all been insanely fast. The Magic 8 Pro, for instance, absolutely smoked the iPhone 17 Pro Max in one of the tests that I did here. So yeah, Samsung knows this is the Ultra phone. When it comes to raw processing power, they're not gonna take any risks. This chip is a monster, like I said, and with 12 gig of RAM as a standard and up to 1 TB of storage as well. It has all the headroom needed for gaming and agentic AI that we've been hearing about, and all the new features arriving in One UI 8.5. I tried to be as quick as possible, but with all that being said, let's talk about money, right? That's what's important to you. And this was pretty much the gist of what I recommended my best friend. Should you actually buy this? Here's my official recommendation or a buying guide. And please do take everything I say here with a pinch of salt. This is based on experience and based on previous years. But at the end of the day, I use Samsung and there's definitely a bit of a bias there. But I do like to give you my opinion because this is my channel and I think you'd like to hear that. And of course, you're gonna get other opinions as well. But so much content out there is just regurgitating, you know, stuff made by AI, and it seems no one has an opinion these days. So here it is. The S26 Ultra is expected to cost around $1250. So if you're currently holding an S25 Ultra, this is gonna be a tough sell. I'm sorry, Samsung, I love you, but I can't sit here and say that if you've got an S25 Ultra, it's a decent upgrade. It's not gonna be. If you have older Samsung phones, bear with me, but let's kind of go down the ladder. So yes, comparing it with the S25 Ultra, the battery size is kind of the same, the real world charging time is pretty much the same as well, and we still don't have built-in magnets. So really, unless the trade-in makes a lot of sense for you and all the bundles that Samsung, you know, Samsung that does have amazing deals, but I'd stick with the S25 Ultra unless you get those deals. Current trade-in estimates, they vary. Samsung used to be a lot better at this, but for the S25 Ultra, I imagine they'll be around 570, 600. That leaves you, and that by the way is pounds or dollars, about the same. That leaves you paying over 600 just to get rounded corners and a privacy screen. I gotta be honest, I love my shiny new toys and I would upgrade myself regardless, but this is your money. Talking of which, by the way, if you use my link, you will get an extra discount, all the usual stuff here on YouTube. Every little helps, right? Transparently, I do get a small kickback if you use the link, but don't feel obliged. I'm not making this video so you can use that link. That's not the reason. I'd rather know that this video helped you in some way to make a decision first and foremost. Also check with your carrier, because I know in the US, for example, there are sometimes unmissable deals that I wish we had here in the UK and Europe. And with Samsung, you are usually able to bundle discounts as well. So use the link plus whatever discount you get from them directly. They're usually quite aggressive. Now, if you have an S24 Ultra, your phone is still a beast. Don't get me wrong, I loved my S24 Ultra. Even the S23 Ultra, to be honest, in 2026 are still great phones. But current trading values for that will be around 400. You could go, I mean, conservatively 410, 420, but maybe could go up to 450, 475. So you could find yourself having to fork out 750, 700. Upgrading in this situation only makes sense really if the trade-in offers and the pre-order bonuses, if all of that make the math work perfectly for your budget. In that situation, you'll see a jump in terms of camera, the battery, and the display as well. I mean, the display alone, there was already a jump on the S25 Ultra coming from the S24, so definitely worth it. And if you are on an S23 Ultra or older than that, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because I think this is the year for an upgrade coming from those devices. Your battery is probably showing its age now, the jump to a flat screen, rounded corners, that f1.4 camera aperture, and the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 will 100% feel like a massive, well-deserved leap, you know, and well done for yourself for holding back in the last 2-3 years. And this is the situation that my friend was in with an S22 Ultra. And when I looked at it, as knowing what I know and experiencing what I've experienced in the last few years, I highly recommended the upgrade for him. Worst case for him was if you can't make a budget stretch to the S26 Ultra, get the S25 Ultra, because you know it's going to be very close there. And this is something that you won't hear a lot on YouTube. If you do have a much older device like the S22, S21, even older, don't look past the S25 Ultra, because this phone will probably go now for 700 or 800. It's definitely worth an upgrade from those older devices if you can't make a budget stretch to those 1200, 1250. So definitely worth considering. So the S26 Ultra, it fixed the ergonomics, brings a massive aperture upgrade to the main camera, and introduces this futuristic privacy screen. But it dropped the ball on the built-in magnets, in my opinion anyway, and the charging looks like a technicality rather than a real-world time saver. But it is a much more refined version for comfort, awesome performance, and low light shooting. But you need to be smart about your trade-ins before pulling the trigger. And like I did in previous years, I'll be doing a massive comparison between the S26 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro Max as soon as I can. So hit the subscribe button, if you like my content. And tell me as well, what phone are you currently using, and are these trade-in values enough to make you jump? Let me know in the comments. Cheers.
You're the only one who knows me, drives me crazy.